welcome to Ep.5 of what we call here on Sports Card Nation Breaking Cardboard. It's a once a month live podcast, if you will, video podcast with a co-host and usually one or multiple guests. Today we have multiple guests. Normally this show is on a Friday, the second Friday of each month, but to accommodate two awesome guys, I had to schedule it on Wednesday. Not a big deal. This also will come out in audio form. So if you're missing it, you didn't catch this live, that's okay. It will be released in an audio form as well. So let me, with that being said, some of that housekeeping done, let me bring on this month's and this episode's co-host. He's my friend, Texas Card Dude, Brad Bethune. Welcome, Brad.
Howdy, y'all. What is up?
Yeah, if you can't tell, they don't call him Texas Card Dude because he's from Pennsylvania. He's in the Dallas area. So welcome, Brad. And we have two great people. I'm happy to call them friends, and got to meet them in person. I knew them before that, but I got to meet them in Chicago at the National for the first time, and super talented, more talent. You know, one of these guys is more talented than both of us put together. So I'm glad they're here tonight. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me bring on our first guest, Mr. Donny B.
Boom, boom, gentlemen. How are you doing
today? Good. What's up, man? And I got to intro this next guest. He hails from my hometown as well. We share the hometown. BK's in the house. Brooklyn Card-Killer. What's up, man?
What's up, my friends? What's going on?
Hey, good. You know, here we are Wednesday. I made special accommodations, but you guys are worth it. Thanks for being part of Breaking Cardboard. And, you know, one of the things when I kind of, you know, I got the people saying, hey, John, you know, we love your podcast, but they're not live. I think that Donny B, you all right?
Yes, sir.
He's okay. I don't know about his camera, but you know, I got a call. Like people said, why don't you do a live show? And I'm like, I don't want to do it every week. We got plenty of great guys doing that kind of stuff, and girls, and but you know, I got enough, you know, call to do that, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. I'll just do it once a month, and so when I try to put these episodes together, I try to sort of have a theme. I try to with the co-host and whoever the guests are, and I try to put that together. And when I said, man, I got to do an episode with you two guys at the same time, and I haven't had Donny be on the actual regular podcast yet, so you know, this is better than nothing, and we'll get you on that thing. To Donny B. But guys, first question. I mean, like everything in the hobby, the last couple of years, card art has blown up, and rightfully so. I've always said, if you've heard me say that, you know, our cards have always been little works of art, but we've really seen. When I say card art's blown up, I think what I mean by that is the artists, finally the people behind that stuff those people are starting to get the credit that's kind of they deserve, and some talented folks. You're just two great examples of that. There's a lot of people doing some great work. I mean, you know, for you guys who are in it in the middle of it doing that stuff, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, you know, talk about you're in the eye of the hurricane, so to speak.
Man, so I think you brought up a really good point. Cards in general are works of art. You got the, you know, I think in 91 or 92, you got the Pro Vision series from Fleer. Yeah. You got the Donruss Diamond Kings, right? Yeah. You have I mean, that's like legit art, like that's brought up into cards. But then you have like the natural aesthetics of taking a solid photograph and placing it with the right border, blah blah blah. Like it really is art. And it's funny. I've brought a few cards to Card Killer's attention to where I'm like, yo, I would love to see you put your work onto a card like this. For example, I think one of them was a Penny Hardaway, right here, actually, ironically, Penny Hardaway, uh, the Topps Finest rookie refractor.
Yeah.
And he brought up a good point. I mean, that this card is already super, badass. That some cards, it's hard to make them better than what they already are. I'm sure he would have, he could do some real damage and make a cool piece to a card like this. But at the end of the day, I mean, speaking personally, my objective when I first started doing card art was to take cards that weren't necessarily, valuable monetarily, but had a bunch of nostalgic value. Like, I mean, any junk era, like Dennis Eckersley card or, Bo Jackson rookie card, stuff like that, where it's iconic as heck. Like all of us had, 10 of them growing up thinking it was going to buy a house later down the road, you know. So further down the road, it gets a lot more competitive. When I started auctioning off cards for KardKiller over here, there was, I mean, maybe one or two other card artists in the space and doing completely different stuff than him. And now we have, I mean, well, I'd say I could say comfortably well over 100 card artists that I know of personally. And
Yeah.
fortunately, Rodney, aka KardKiller over here, we started a what is called the Sports Card Art Gallery on Instagram as well, and we started that at a time to where there was maybe 10, maybe 15 different card artists, and thought it would be a cool starting point to or I guess like a jump off to start posting and promoting for our comrade. Something that I mean, I think is super awesome. No one's, no, I mean, not to sound petty, but like no one has created something to just promote for me and KK over here. But we're proud to do it, and it's really grown into something real significant and a community that's, I mean, probably more tight knit than any community that I've ever been involved with.
Yeah, and I want to hear, KardKiller's take on this too, but I want to say something too. What you guys, besides being talented, guys, you do something that's very close to my heart because I try to do it as much as possible. Philanthropy. You do a lot of charity stuff with your talents. It's one thing to be talented and use it for your own benefit. There's nothing wrong with that. That's America in its nutshell. But you also use those talents to help some less fortunate folks. And not everyone does that. Not everyone can do that. And I think that you might not pat yourself on the back necessarily, but I want to do that. And I've said that before, but it can't go. Can't say thank you enough for that. And
yes,
to me, that's talent is one thing, and just being a great human is another. I can't draw a stick figure to save my life, so I try to do nice things. But you're talented on the art side and on that side as well. So hats off to you guys. But KardKiller, just kind of synopsis of the last 2 years and the rise of card artists, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of hit at exactly the right time that multiple artists kind of needed the outlet because whether or not you worked in a studio or you worked at home, you were staying put for because of the pandemic, and so you had to kind of scale down, and scaling to the card art format seems like a pretty small task. I mean, all you got to do is apply your own style to what you were doing, and then just make it into the 2.5 by 3.5 format. So it was convenient for me at the time, but I mean, it seemed to work out perfectly for a lot of artists who needed the outlet. And that's kind of like just how a snowball turns into an avalanche. Once you see someone enjoying it, and then they want to give it a shot, or they want to do it with their kids or something like that, and they could do that now because they're at home a little bit more often. And then the natural progression of it over the last couple of years is it just getting on bigger platforms. Tops took on their art projects. The money started coming in. Like it took a while to start convincing people that cutting up cards was going to make them worth more. It sounds so bizarre. I mean, it still kind of does. You still kind of laugh.
Well, it's what you do, and then you got your trimmers that do grading. But that's a whole nother show. But
we love to show the trims. Yeah, so that's the difference. We're a little more transparent about
it. yeah, no doubt. And your work's a lot better than theirs as far as artistic.
Amen on that, brother.
Form. One quick follow-up question, and I don't want to. I'll let Brad ask one. I know he's got a few. With the rise of card art and all the talented folks that are finally sort of getting recognized and for what they're doing. It's not just relegated to the art world. We see it in other niches. You get all sort of those. I see a lot of. I'm trying to think the best term for a copycat artist. Mm-hmm. People kind of literally do the same exact thing, and sort of kind of. I don't want to say try to steal thunder, but sort of like not give credit to the original person where they seen do that. It's one thing to be similar and not exact, but I've noticed a lot of people trying to replicate what you guys do without even saying, hey, Donny B was an inspiration, card killer. Now, there are people that do that too, but then there's others that just kind of do that and try to pass it off as if they're the originals. And I mean, how do you, as an artist, how do you deal with that? I know you just got to keep doing your thing, but does it bother you? How do you deal with those things when they occur?
It doesn't bother me 1 second. That's okay. Sorry, Donny. But
get it.
No, I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, it never bothered me. I mean, when they imitate, that's a form of flattery.
Listen, it never bothered you because nobody can copy what you're doing, brother.
Woo, preach.
Well, I mean, real talk.
Well, I mean, it'd be that if that's the case, I mean, there are plenty of artists that what they do is they're committing their style to the format. Yeah, I mean, I try to have my own style. I mean, that's just the way I operate, and I'm constantly moving from one concept to another. There's a couple of concepts that I keep constant, but that's just the progression of what I take with me as I go along in my process. But other artists have done it, the same way, and I've seen them develop over the last couple of years. I don't look at it as stealing concept. I look at it as my job or my purpose was to plant a seed, and just however the hell that grows is not up to me at some certain point at all. Yeah. And but like when you go back to the roots, you go, that seed was planted so that just to watch it grow. That's part of my art is to do stuff like that. And just to keep pushing and pushing. And, when I see people kind of have similar ideas, I'm like, that's awesome. What am I going to do next? And, it pushes me because it's like now, well, I'm a concept guy, so I'm going to move on anyway. I love watching people develop their own style and everything, no matter where it starts from. I don't, it doesn't bother me if there's imitation or even like profitable stealing. It doesn't occur to me. I tend to just sit there and do me. So I don't really I don't really let it waste my time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. Like you said, you kind of you use it to motivate you to what you can do next and elevate your game, and that's a good attitude to have. But I don't know. I guess it bothers me more when I see it happen from the outside looking in. Thinking how, like I said, I can't play hangman and draw that stick figure to even play. But I thought, it's funny. My dad's an artist, a really good one, and my son is tremendous too. He got that gene. It skipped right over me. My son can draw like the Beatles freehand, like with features, and I mean it's crazy. I'll have to post some stuff on my social media, but and my dad's a crazy good artist. He does a lot of Disney type stuff, but me, like I said, I can't. So coming from a sort of an art background with my dad and my son, and seeing what they can do, and then guys like you, I'm sort of jealous to be honest with you, because I couldn't do it to save my life, and you guys make it look so easy. But that being said, when someone's sort of, I don't want to say steal, but kind of do that and not really pay the proper homage to where they got it from. It's one thing to steal something and say, listen, I got this from Donny B or KardKiller. They inspired me. I'm trying my hand at it. I like that more than when someone just does it and not tip their hat to the original. And and that happens in music, right? People say, hey, they're an influence. I get a lot of my influence from them and my music. I like to see that they're paying respects and homage to who inspired them. And so when I don't see it, or I feel like someone's sort of taking advantage of that situation, it rubs me the wrong way for the 2 cents that's worth. I just wanted to know.
So me personally, John, I've had dude, KardKiller's been making card art and art with cards for many years now. Like he's got his system down. Like he's killing it, right? I've been making card art for about I guess a little bit over a year now, maybe like a year and a few months. I feel very confident and very good about what I put out for that time frame and whatnot. But my system is a bit more easy to knock off than KardKiller's is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And before KardKiller and I got together and started selling card art, either of us, I mean, brother, there was no blueprint. There was no one telling you how to chop this up to do this, sell it here. There was none of that. All there was my guy KardKiller making some elaborate, insane pieces, and nobody knew what to do with them. Like dude, I don't want to speak too much on his behalf, but like he was making some badass pieces that couldn't. I mean, he wasn't getting $75 for them. So, some of the same pieces that we sold for like $700 in the last few months. So yeah, there was no blueprint. So now when you see someone with 33,000 followers making this pretty cool stuff and putting the price tags and selling the stuff that I do, boom, that a blueprint is created. Something that you can physically see that I'm doing, or somebody's doing, that they could replicate. Or in my opinion, I'd love to hear just jump in and add their own spin on the game, because that's what I love to see, man. Like I love to see a new artist jump in and come at it with a new concept that you've never seen. For example, there's this dude named Ice Wolf. I think it's Ice Wolf like 37 or something like that, and he's won a few of our auctions, and he collects like agates and crystals as well as cards. And after winning a few of our auctions, he started slicing up or taking like thinly sliced crystals and putting them on the back of cards and incorporating them with cards. And he actually made his first piece and sent it to me, and something that I treasure, man. Like, just like you see, it's in my big boy case.
Yeah, this one has eye appeal too. This is lovely.
He put a freaking stone behind me, bro.
Oh,
Like a
that's
Geo.
nice.
That's cool.
That is
Like,
Yeah,
awesome.
look at that. It's yep.
and
You
you're
are
talking about someone who literally just wanted to jump into space so he could make me a gift. I think the first 5-10 pieces he made, he's not selling any of them. He's like gifting them out. Like that is culture, brother. Like that's
Yeah.
what we love. That's what we love to see, rather than some dude try to copy our imitate our formula and go from being a no name to selling their cards and trying to steal our followers. And like there's so many different
Yeah,
ways to go about it,
and that's what I was getting at, Donny B. Here's a guy, like you said, this Ice Wolf. I don't know him, but I'll check him out for sure now. What you plugging him, putting his own spin on it. Like he's taking what's there and trying to put his own element to it, literally with stone and geology stuff, and
So let
that's
me
a
tell you this.
geo. It just it's like, what can you do next? It's like, hold my beer, right? Watch
Exactly.
this, that I appreciate. It's those folks like you just alluded to that literally just do it like verbatim that's been done and not even tip their cap. It's like stealing from someone and not even nodding to, hey, I got this from you. At least in the bare minimum do that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about inspiring people to,
yeah,
get in space and whatnot, but it does for me. I mean, me and Card Killer clearly have like a little different stance on it, but sometimes it'll get under my skin when I see somebody, replicate my piece to the T. I'm talking order the same exact card, use
yeah,
reflective strips on the back, all of that stuff. But on the other flip of the coin, it's inspiring to see when something like that, when it starts out like something like that, and then maybe 2 or 3 months down the line, they're a real player in the game making their own stuff.
yeah.
So that happens every once in a while too.
I came across my feed today. Some guy, he chopped up. I'm assuming it's a reprint of an '86 Fleer Jordan, and he made a collage and mixed it with a one of those Maxell Maxell cassette tapes from the
Oh
'80s, the
yeah,
clear ones.
yeah, yeah.
And I swear to God, it looks like a little card made out of a tape, like a real cassette tape. It was awesome, and I was like, these concepts are coming in really quick now, man, because everybody's starting to juice up and starting to take their own art to the next level, and starting to see that anything is possible. Really, it may be a smaller format, but it almost it's unlimited. And even though you're tying it to sports, it's not like you're jumping on the shoulders of it or anything. You're just using it as a tool to deliver a message. And
Yeah.
and every artist gets to do it. I mean, I want to give credit where credit is due, because late last year, I found what I consider the first piece of card art to be, made by a gentleman by the name of John Sheezer. His Instagram tag is Ep.5 marked, with 2 E's in the beginning. Ep.5 marked, and he's been in the game for years and years. He's been doing sports art, and I know he's been mixing it a lot with big resin bricks and making a lot of collages with baseball cards in them cut up, but they're larger size pieces. And here you go, this is an example. So John's been in the game and he's been doing that stuff for years. And the first real piece of what I would say is like collage card art that we kind of know of today, he had made in 2018. It was like some Griffey piece that he just posted on his page in 2018. And it kind of just, since his following wasn't big and he posted it and just like the next day moved on to another piece, it's kind of like it just went under the radar. So I saw that piece in, 2020, and I was like, he made that to like almost 3 years ago. And I was like, so I went up on our other site that we do, the Griffey Legacy Project, and I made a post about it. I was like, this is, I think, pretty much the first piece I can imagine being conceived. I mean, you got to know that like he's an artist in the game. Now, this is someone, another artist or could have done it 10 years ago. Another artist could have done it 20 years ago. I mean, making your own card is not a new thing. but most of it is kind of like, you know, you get graphic designers making their own cards and everything. You know, rarely was I seeing any concepts being thrown in like a collage way or a mosaic way into a card, like a reimagining of a card. But what's been happening, I think, over the last 2 years is that it just it caught fire because of A, the pandemic, I think, and then B, it was just you know, the right artist was making the right splash and the right content to promote it correctly, and then, you know, that fire just became like a blaze. So you know, like, I want to say cheers to John, because that's a really early card art piece, and I hope he has it still. If not, you know, if someone else out there has it, that'd be awesome to see where it is now.
Man,
But
for the record to cut in,
Yeah.
like I said, I have well over 33,000 legitimate followers. I've been sent, I mean, more packages than I could count as far as gifts or you know, art cards or just anything like that. And dude, for the record, this was the first thing that was ever sent to me. So
That's cool.
this is a very treasured piece, man. And it's a trip because he's the gentleman that he speaks of, John. He makes really cool stuff still, and unfortunately, I feel he really puts so much effort into his art, and he just really doesn't put too much effort into building his platform. And unfortunately, these days that'll hold you back, man. But you know, that's why we created things like the Griffey Legacy Project and the Card Art Gallery, so we could at least do our part to, you know, let some people know about these guys, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Brad ask one of his questions, but before I do, I want to just say it speaks well about you guys right there, because you're giving credit to other artists. You don't mind sharing the limelight. You know, KardKiller, you highlighted the Cephas Mark gentleman is kind of doing it even first, if you will. And there's something to be said about, you know, giving proper credit and shining the light on others as well. I think you know, it's good. It's good on you to that you're like that. I think I'm a karma guy, so I believe in karma, and you guys are full of great karma. So, Brad, what do you got? What do you want to ask these two talented gentlemen here?
Well, I don't know. You got a Texas boy with all these New York Yankee. That's why I went and grabbed my Mets hat so I could at least semi fit in.
Well, Donny B's from the West Coast. He's California. We got all the coast.
All right, we got it all represented. East, West.
I'm a Met man.
There you go. You go. I just recently discovered card art, and KardKiller, your color. I'm gonna get a little fanboy for about 2 seconds if I can. Your color and your brilliance is absolutely amazing, and I was just like, oh, that's just sick, and I know it just took off, but Donny, your characters, man, your characters and incorporating like the Marvel characters, like the Venom, and my jaw dropped. That was just sick. It was sick. I was so impressed. I'm so impressed by both of your talents and the work that you've done, and just I really appreciate it. And thank you very much that's my fanboy. The question
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, believe me.
The question that I had is, Killer, you buried a Pete Alonso card? How dare you bury a Pete Alonso card? What made you bury a Pete Alonso card? Out of all cards, a Pete Alonso. Come on, man.
So the concept there is that in order to give a card a new story to tell, I created this concept of making a treasure hunt and getting the collector physically involved with my art and my process. You know, a lot of my inspiration comes through the things that I liked when I was a kid. And I swear to God, just before I had to turn off the movie The Goonies just to join this podcast, right? Because I watched it all the time. I apologize. But yeah, so like that kind of stuff inspires me. Like, the stuff that I love as a kid, the nostalgic stuff, the video games I played, the movies that I loved, the cards that I collected, they all kind of just seem to mesh together. And I didn't want to paint like a picture of a treasure hunt, or it wouldn't make sense. So like, it just came to me to just physically do it myself, because I would love to go on a treasure hunt myself, but I didn't, I don't go out and seek that stuff, but through my art, I can give that experience to someone else. So
that's very interesting. So the whole entire thing, the treasures, so Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, all of that incorporated into, you considered a full art experience, which I never even thought about. I never even thought of it that's
performance.
That's awesome.
Performance art.
Yes.
Hey, the bottom line is it's what makes me happy, and it's it's what I've loved throughout the years. So at some point as an artist, I just had to ask myself a bunch of questions, and one of them is, what do I like? Yeah. And what do I want to show my audience? What do I want my audience to experience? And I was like, and one of those answers throughout this process was, let's do the movie The Goonies with my art. And since I was doing this card art, and Pete Alonso just happened to be hitting his like 49th home run, right? So he was up to 49. And I was looking at it, I was like, he's 3 away from breaking the rookie record. So the concept ended up being that I would tell a story and I would make a short film of every time that Pete Alonso hit a home run, I would destroy one of his cards. So I took three Topps Chrome parallels. And they're here. It's the pink, the sepia, and the what looks like, I think, the pulsar.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So here we have one. So I drilled a hole through each one of them, and that just represented the home run. That was like 50, 49, 50, and 51, right?
Very cool.
And then so he breaks the record, 52. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have no story whatsoever, right? So he does it. And, I look up at the television, and then I pull a curtain back, and it's the purple parallel auto of this card, basically. So it's a gorgeous card that I had purchased a couple of months back.
Yeah.
And I go to put the drill towards it, and I look up at the television, and he's at first base crying because he's so emotional. If you remember that little highlight of him.
Yes, I do.
So all of a sudden that makes me upset. Now I can't destroy that card because I feel for him. So instead, I go out and I dig a hole in a grassy field, and I put it in a box, and I put it down in the hole, and I cover it up, and then I walk away from it. So basically, it's me saving the card by burying it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I would have never. That's
so awesome. Little did Pete know that the tears of emotion standing out there saved the rookie card of his. I don't think.
So then I started. So it concluded by me just posting these cards, and then in gold leaf, if you can see, are the clues that lead you to the treasure, and so like. And you could see them like hidden in the cards themselves. So if you follow these clues, and you looked in the map, you kind of knew I was in New York City, because it said Brooklyn on one of the clues. And it took a full year and a few attempts. I had about three legitimate people on the hunt. And I would only tell them, whether or not they were cold or warm or something like that. Because they were DMing me, am I close? Am I close? I'm like, yeah, you're close.
You're close.
Like, you're close. And one of the last clues is the purple emoji is actually on like one of the post of like, a baseball field, like really close. You could see it. And like, I had the target 40 feet away from that face. So if you found the face, you knew where to look. And some guys were in there digging with the screwdriver, digging holes in the field. Like, oh, we dug 20 holes, we can't find it. I was like, I don't know exactly where it is anymore. So
metal detectors or.
Oh yeah. So he was like, should I get a metal detector? I was like, yeah, I think so. So one guy actually went on a second attempt, got a metal detector, knew where to look. And lo and behold, he found it. I think his name is JT, and he lives upstate. He drove 2 miles to Brooklyn, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. I did not bury the card. Why would I bury that card? Because if the weather gets to it, it's going to get hot. It's going to get cold. That card is going to get damaged. So I had the card myself. But what happens is the guy found the box that I buried, which was adorned in which is he has right now.
Yeah.
Which is a little hint to what I'm about to tell
you. The box itself is a piece of art.
I know.
Oh yeah, the box itself
It literally is.
The box itself is all decked out. So the box had a message inside it saying DM me immediately, and I met up with him. Like, that's the note on the bottom. And then I gave him the key. We took like final video so I can conclude the short film. And, we planted the card back in. So when he opened it, it was there. And then he looked up and I was gone. So that's basically, the conclusion of that part, that treasure hunt. And it's amazing that you brought it up, because me and Donny has that box now, because we are really, really close to dropping a second one. And he is, and I have been dropping clues on the internet for months, and no one knows. And even if they kind of know what it is, they can't figure it out until I start dropping, like ciphers, if you will.
Nice. So my follow-up question is, when you met the guy, were you in a chunk outfit? And did you swing on a rope yelling, "Hey, you guys"?
Yeah, no, that was me. Donny was next to me doing Baby Ruth. Right? Donny was cloth.
No, and I followed that. I followed that whole storyline, and I don't want to say storyline, but the whole concept, and it was awesome, man. It was awesome. It was and to see the gentleman finally find the box and then get that card. I mean, obviously, like most movies, there's a happy ending, and that gentleman got a really nice Peter Alonso card, and you got a great story out of it, and the box, as we see, is in itself artwork as well. And so I hope we see that. I hope we see things like you kind of hinted, something along those lines again. I think it's fun. It showcases your originality, and someone gets something for free for a little work. My grandfather back in the day, he's passed on, was the foreman of the New York City Parks and Rec, and I just think to myself, all them holes. I'm surprised, like the Parks and Rec, to say, what's going on here? Why are we digging? We tearing New York up, but it's all in good fun, and like I said, I really enjoy, and a lot of your stuff you do, Card Killer is. You I don't want to say you drag it out because it has a negative, but you make a lot of, like, it's a performance piece, and it all fits together in the end, and it's fun to watch and follow along. It's almost like a show in itself, and I hope I hope we see more of that. And you do a great job with it. If you don't follow, I don't know why not, but for those listening that don't follow Card Killer on Instagram, I mean, he puts stuff together. The talent is obvious there. Donny B as well. I wanted to show, while I'm raving about you, I have a couple of their pieces that they were generous to me to give. This is my guy, Mark Messier. This is KardKiller's work, and you can just see the aesthetics with this stuff. I mean, this stuff, there's a case. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. I took them out of the case because we were doing the show today. But normally these are in this acrylic case. These don't go to shows with me. They're not for sale. These guys did this for me. This is Donny's work. And I got to be honest with you. This camera doesn't do. You got to see these things in person. Pictures on social media, and this camera doesn't do this stuff justice. I mean, it looks cool even on camera, but it looks better in person. And this is stuff. I thought about putting it in my showcase just to show it off and highlight. But I don't want anyone to like try to buy it. Maybe I will bring it and just the promo. The crazy talent that both of these gentlemen have. But I enjoy, I'm in this office every day at this desk, and literally to my right here, I get to admire both of these cards each and every day, and the work and dedication and talent that goes into producing them, and all the stuff you guys do. It's just incredible. So, Brad, I've talked a lot as New Yorkers tend to do. You got what else you got?
Well, again, so I have a question about, and you may or may not remember, but Darth Mantle. I saw your Instagram, Darth Mantle, and I get it, or at least I think I get it. Slaying the ball. He had a dark side of his personality that he didn't like to show everybody every once in a while. I mean, you could see the mirror. What made you put those two together?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you exactly how the process of that stuff goes. It's just something that popped in. I had there was 65th Street Cards, right? He had put out Boba Fett, and I love the concept. And as I was driving, I thought of this mashup, and then a couple of days later I was like, oh, but 65th Street did it. So I'm still going to do it because I think it ties well in, because it still looks like Mantle. It still looks like Mick.
Yeah.
But you just put the Darth Maul makeup on, and he's holding a lightsaber, which makes sense. And the horns are popping through the hat. So there's enough going on to make a legitimate mash. So I think probably somewhere subconsciously 65th Street was in my head, because I had admired the mashup, and I was like, the ideas that are fun and really too like hard to ignore. Like, I went home and I pumped that out in 2 hours, and I was like,
wow,
I got to figure out a larger avenue maybe for this image, just because it's fun, and I love Star Wars and everything, and I collect Star Wars too. Like, that's another show.
Yes.
You did this in pencil or charcoal or what?
That's on a canvas board, and you're not really supposed to use graphite. And all that was for me to actually lay out the lines so that I can do a color study, because I was going to make a large painting of it. But then I just started shading too much, and I was like, now I can't paint over this. So it's really not technically a traditional way of doing something, because you don't really use graphite on a canvas because of the texture of the canvas. But anyway, so I just dealt with it, and I kind of used it as a finished piece, and I posted it because I was just so anxious to get it out. And then said, maybe look forward to a large size painting, to which I could probably make, a series of cards with, which I don't know how much trouble I'm getting for, but that's another question, because if I'm using like images and then printing them and then making copies and selling them, that is a realm I've never went into, and people have dealt with cease and desists when it comes to doing that process. because they're selling copyrighted images. But doing one of ones or and stuff like that has never really gotten any trouble or any attention, even on the scale that I do them.
If we weren't able, or like if it was a legal issue, we would both be in jail by now.
I've escaped. I get out.
Is it jail or a mental asylum?
This guy mental asylum.
Arkham. Arkham Asylum.
It is Arkham. It is Arkham.
But to be honest with you, there's multiple people that I know that have gotten hit with cease and desist from Upper Deck, from Tops, and all of the accounts that that have gotten these cease and desist have maybe less than a couple thousand followers. Like I have 30. Like I hate to even keep saying the number, but I have a decent following, and I do weekly auctions with different card artists selling one of ones that get decent coverage, man. Some of them get 20, 30 shares. So the industry sees them, whether they see all of them, who knows how many, but they know about us. They see us.
And this, I want to segue into something I have on my list to cover today, Donny, with cease and desist and them protecting their property. It's come out recently, a few artists, not necessarily you guys, but people in the art world saying, hey, Topps or Panini has kind of lifted my artwork and used it on a project they released or a downtown card in Panini's case, and not number one, not paid me for my work, or even asked me, hey, can we utilize what you did? So they're worried about their stuff being protected. It's a two-way street when artists are having their work used.
They got the lawyers though, man. They're already lawyered up from stuff.
I hear you, but I'm saying they're not squeaky clean. I guess where I'm going with this, they're not. It's a two-way street. Obviously, they have more money to have those expensive lawyers on retainer, but I mean, you want people to follow the rules. You should follow them yourself as well. We've seen that, and sort of that's a knock on the card companies too. One of the reasons I think, and this is just me talking here, my opinion, that card art exploded, besides just the talent itself that got it there, is the last 10, 15 years of card design. Let's be real. I've been doing this. I've been in the hobby a long time. I've seen, it's sort of been lacking, almost been lazy. And then you guys are taking that sort of boring, mundane, pieces and showing what heights they can actually go to with a little effort and work and talent. And I think that's really why card art it's the people behind it that are taking that sort of lazy effort, if you will. And I don't want, people are working hard at Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, Leaf, whoever card company you want to insert there. I don't want to paint with a broad brush.
They're working hard to hit deadlines. They're not working hard.
It's a good. That's exactly probably the perfect way to say it. But the ingenuity, the imagination has sort of suffered, and you guys have said, hey, we don't have a deadline. We set our own deadlines. We're just going to make some really amazing stuff. And I think the Project 2020, Project 70, with some of the stuff Panini's done with like Downtowns and Kaboom has come from those examples that you guys have set and other artists. And to me, it's like, give those guys credit instead of maybe trying to lift their work kind of in a subtle sort of way. Hire them, or if not hire them as a full-time employee, hire them to design the cards.
Yes.
They can work. You can work from home and give them card designs and paid for your services.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if that's something you want to do, I'm not trying to be your agent or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a card company and I see people like doing cards, I'd love to pull out of a pack or that. I'm trying to find that guy and say, hey, what do we got to do so we can get that kind of work into for
I think
people to enjoy it.
I think for work like Card Killers and mine, I think it would be really cool to throw in some redemptions into some packs.
Yeah,
And
I'd love to see it. You hit it right on the head, Donny B. Some redemption. They could do this stuff. I mean, they got enough staff to find these people like yourself and say, hey, let's collaborate on something here. I mean, that's really in a sense what Topps did with the 2020 project and hiring those artists, and then they went and hired more artists in the Project 70. That's had its bumps in the road and stuff too. That's a whole nother show in itself. We won't
so
go there, but
Hey John, listen, man. I sorry to cut in, but
yeah, go ahead.
If you, I really don't know how long it took them to put together Topps Project 2020. It's 20 artists, 20 cards, pretty unique project for sure. But if you want to rewind the clock and look at the timelines of when Card Killer and I started auctioning off his card art, we started a few months before Topps Project 2020 was even in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to say that we birthed Topps Project 2020, but just throughout the last couple of years, there's definitely been quite a few, like eerie coincidences, if you will.
No, you're preaching to the choir, Donnie. That's why I brought it up, because I do believe that stuff happens. But now let's be fair too, and not just pick on Topps.
No,
Who I'm
Panini,
actually fun. Panini with the kabooms and the downtowns. Though that is
listen to this, man. And like I said, I can't claim this idea was thought up by us or whatever. But what was like the biggest talk of the town for National Treasure this year?
what's that?
The Jason Alexander relic.
Oh
Right?
yeah. The Yankee.
I was auctioning off a Jason Alexander autographed card art piece a couple months before that.
You're right. You're right. It just slipped my mind. I'm old, so I don't remember that.
Whatever. I'm older than you are. Stop that.
Yeah, by like a month. But no, I think a lot of that goes on, Donnie.
I mean, listen, Jason Alexander. That's a fucking random. That's a random name to throw in, and like that's quite coincidental, I must say.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think a lot of that goes on. There's probably stuff we can't see everything. I think it happens more than we even those are things we realize. I think it happens even more things a little more low key even than that's going on. And if you're gonna do that, like just hire the person or incorporate them in there, or compensate them for their ideas and their work. These companies are making quite a bit of money. It's not a big deal. To me, it's just they're trying to get something without without having to pay the freight, so to speak. And I'm a guy that I believe that if you put in the work and your work gets used, or sort of lifted, or you should be compensated for your time that you put into creating that piece or idea. It's not even just the artwork, but even the idea and the premise behind it. So we got a question from DR in chat. It's a good question. What do you guys think about the future of designing and printing cards at home? And I think it's a great question. With the pandemic, I think this is something companies can do. The problem is, with the most of these card companies, the cards are produced separate from corporate headquarters. They're not produced on site. They're produced in places like Cardamundi and other places. A lot of people don't realize that. I don't know about now with the pandemic, but Topps and Panini cards are actually produced literally in the same building. Obviously not at the same time, but in the same building. I always thought that was weird. It would be like Burger King, McDonald's using the same oven to cook the food. It just, to me, it's sort of unheard of. If I'm Topps or Panini, I want my own established factory or printing, and I'd probably want it closer to where I am to be a little more hands-on QC and stuff. What you guys are doing is at home, but as far as there's a lot of production, but what they could have, and I don't know what the card designers that they have that are already hired. I don't know if I'm sure some of them are working at home as well, especially during COVID times. But why not? It's what kind of where I was going with is like, if I see an artist and I like what he's doing with cards and I'm a card company, why wouldn't I reach out to him and say, hey, I want you to design some of what we're doing here. I want you to be part of what, and come to some sort of payment agreement, or hire you outright, just period, hire you. Or if not, if you say, hey, I kind of like being my own boss. I don't really want to work for you, Panini or Topps or Protect, but here's the concept. If you want to buy this concept or buy this design, let's talk terms there. I think it'd be silly not to do that. Why not? They only got a couple years, and then there's going to be fanatics most likely making those kind of decisions. And who knows what they're going to do? They're going to be a direct to consumer type company. We don't know whether they're going to try to buy a Topps, Panini, or someone else. That remains to be seen. But again, I'm not trying to besmirch people who are working. Everyone has different levels, but as someone been in the hobby the last 10 or 20 years, if you ask a lot of hobbyists, other than customer service, which is a hot button topic, take that off the table. What's your biggest complaint with the card companies? And I think the next thing you're going to hear is the designs are boring or unimaginative. And so why not get some creative people that are already doing great things and just use what they're doing? And obviously you don't have to use what they've already done, but use that creativity and say, hey, design something for us. We love what you're doing with your work. We want you to design Donruss cards. We want you to design Topps, whatever. I know I keep using them too, because right now they're the two biggest ones. And why not try to put out the best product? But some will argue that's probably why they lost the licensing. Not the money talks too. Let's be real. But I think they got a little bit lazy. Sat on their hands a little bit, knowing that hobbyists were just going to buy pretty much anything put out there because they're Topps and Panini and other brands. And where to me, I want to put out a product that says, look at what we're doing in relation to the competition, and we're ahead of them as far as design and technology and artistic creativity. That sells itself, and so you have to pay for it a little bit. You'll get it in spades when you release the product. And I don't know why we see more. Another comment here. I feel like there could be some technological advancement for an at-home printing machine with cardstock and ink and software design programs like HP.
We got artists like my buddy Loyal Luke, who's literally printing his own refractor cards, man. I think I got awesome. Yeah, I got one behind me. Dude's really
awesome.
Look at this, man. He's printing these at home.
Oh wow.
It's really hard to capture it, but
I seen that on I think I saw you post that. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If someone can do that, and I know that there's talent, I don't want to make it like it's anyone can do it, but if someone is doing that at home, an artistic, talented person, a company can, if they wanted to invest the time and the funds and allocate the effort, they could produce those cards. If that's paying someone to do it or get that ball rolling. And why they don't? It's a great question from Dr. I mean, my answer is I think they're sort of, they know their product's going to sell, and they're trying to make it at the cheapest level and get the biggest ROI. I get it, and I don't get it at the same time. One thing I wanted to ask you too, guys. I'm in full disclosure. If you've ever heard me on my show, NFTs are a big, huge thing. I'm not a fan of NFTs. I'm old school. I'm the old man on the porch. To me, like, if I can't hold this stuff in my hands, like your work or other stuff, to me it's not real. You either have it or you don't. And NFTs have like just they're doing great. Whether I like them or not, people love them. Other people,
It's the cryptocurrency of card art.
yeah. What are your thoughts as someone in that space? Do you like it? You don't like it? What would you like to see? Is it something, I'm talking NFT. Now there's some NFTs, guys, that have something tangible attached to them, an experience, or you can get something from it. The NFTs I don't like that are literally a picture on my phone or a computer, and to me that's not real. I can go to Google and steal all of KardKiller's cards, which I would, but I'm saying it doesn't beat having the actual card in that's not the same thing. And so for me, NFTs, unless there's something tangible to it, I'm just not interested in it. And these things are selling for crazy money. I don't know how someone on the back end is going to be like holding the bag when the music stops.
Hopefully that's the thing. Hopefully it's the artist. That's how it's designed. With every time it's bought and sold, any transaction through the blockchain, the artist gets revenue from it, whatever it may be, 5%, 10%, whatever it's set up to be. As far as me and my art goes, I'm cool off of it. Like I would much rather produce handheld things that you could, really tangibilize, if that's the word. And
it is now.
It sure is now, yeah. And to be able to enjoy it, just like you said. I mean, even looking at a picture, it's hard to to really understand.
Yeah, if you see that same piece and that short in person, hold it up to the camera doesn't do that piece justice. It still looks great, but it just looks that much better in person.
So I mean, I personally don't even prefer to make prints. I really do get a kick out of the one of one concept of, here's this piece, someone own it, someone love the heck out of it, you're the one. So
well, if you
think and everything we talked about, your work, we talked about some of the other artists' work. You pulled it out from behind you, Donnie, some of the other artists' work, and showed had that in your hand. There's something to that. I don't care what anyone says. Having the actual pieces of art, someone's hard work and dedication in your hand, is something to be said about. Having a digital copy of something, I can't drive a digital car to work tomorrow. Unless you work from home, then I guess you can.
Well, apparently you can race a digital horse. That's big these days.
I'm I was born in 1972. To me, it's you either have it in your hand or you don't have it. I know it's I'm making it very black and white, cut and dry, but that's how I'm a product of my environment, as they say, and that's how it'll always be to me. Just cutting, even cutting a picture. I was going to say cutting a picture out of magazines, not the actual thing. Well, even that's at least tangible. But having like just a digital picture or something on your phone picture, I don't know. That for me, it doesn't get my juices flowing at all. That doesn't move my meter enough to do it or buy it or spend money on it. It's a huge thing. Let's give credit where credit's due. I just don't get the whole concept. I want to have, the art. If I buy, I can't afford it, but if I bought, a Monet painting, I want the actual painting on the wall, not a digital copy that I say, hey, look what's on my phone. I got a Monet, right? So that's me. I know I don't speak for everybody, but I wanted to ask you guys, what you thought as someone who produces actual works of art.
So to finalize my thought, as far as my art goes, I could do without it. I have no interest in doing it. If I could go back in time, I would love to have done a fair amount of research and actually do some investing in it. Because why should all these other people be getting fat and happy off of it when it's something that we probably could have easily done with the right timing? But yeah, just like as far as my art goes, I'm very happy to call it physical and one of a kind for sure.
Yeah.
For me,
KardKiller. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my knee-jerk reaction was much like yours, John. Digital work has been traded over the internet for decades for free. So what's the difference? And then I read a bunch of articles about it, and I started to understand the application of it being a digital asset in a metaverse, which is only growing by the day. There's going to be you can buy digital real estate, and when I put on my Oculus, I can go visit my friend's digital home, and if he has a digital painting on the wall, that's his now. And then we know it's not a copy. So the more we become like technology advanced, if you would, but also like technology bound, the more this digital world is going to exist. The only thing that with NFTs is that it gives the opportunity for such instant dilution that you're scrambling when you hear about it. It's almost like when you hear about it, you already missed the boat, because now everybody and their mother has like an Ethereum wallet, maybe not their mothers, but like and people have
no, they do too. They do too.
They can, but you know what I mean? Like everybody is going to start building this digital world, and it's still kind of in the early stages, but I love the there being a physical representation of a digital product there, so that that there's something to attach it to, that's just not a picture of an ape or something like that. I think the more we see time go, we see like the more like 99% of it is just going to be in like some kind of digital wasteland. There's not going to be any reason for it. And it's going to, the more expensive ones are going to be the first ones, or the popular people who put them out, regardless of what it is. So it just becomes as fickle as the art world is, as fickle as business is. The second you put blood in the water, sharks are going to come. So things, are boiling over so damn quickly that it really is going to come down to, what is the NFT worth physically, in the real world, and then what is it worth in the digital world? It's inevitable, guys. I mean, it's already here. It's just a matter of every business is going to incorporate it in one way or another, and some of it's art, some of it's not. But an art was an easy way for people to start thinking money is going to just fall from the sky, and that quickly probably already has dissolved. Like if I'm actually in the process of working with someone to create digital assets. I'm still in the early stages, but I want to find a way to make it work with my art. And just like I told the story about the treasure hunt and how that works with my art, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do it digitally that sets me apart from everybody else, just like I try to do with everything. So it can't just be like John says, this picture on your phone that like a clip of someone making a slam dunk. I mean, you know, how many people have seen it? Like, do you want to see that NFT that anybody owns? Not really. I've seen it on ESPN. So
I'm shocked. I'm shocked, Card Killer, like how these things have been received. I'm surprised they're as popular as they are, But the DR's got another comment I want to put because I feel the same way. I feel like the metaverse will be like the movie Inception. We will never know what cards we actually own or if it's all a dream. And I'm just going to say, if I'm in the metaverse, I better have some kind of superpowers. Like if I'm going to be in the metaverse, I just don't want to be like regular John. I don't know what kind of superpowers I'm going to get from being in the metaverse, but I'm definitely incorporating something. Maybe I'll be able to like be artistic in the metaverse where I'm not in the real world.
Your power is going to be able to take a PSA 9 and turn it into a PSA 10. That's what you're going to be able to do.
I was thinking more along the lines of a bidet or something.
I'll take it. I'm not beggars. Beggars can't be choosers. I'll take it, Card Killer.
The modern day water to wine.
There you go.
I just I'm going to be the old man on the porch here, I guess, if so be it. But to me, like it's either real or you either have it or you don't. Like, for example, what I said, I can't draw to save my life. I don't have that talent. You guys do. It's pretty cut and dry. Like there's no in between there. There's no gray area. Like, and that's how I feel with these. You either have something, you own it, either you bought it or someone gave it to you and it's yours, or you don't have it. Like I just, and the money that some of these things going for, and I don't want to make this the top shot, but there's stories now that people can't get their funds out of their wallets, and they're wondering if it's really on the up and up, and their CEO made some disparaging comment. It's sort of a train wreck. I never got into it. I probably never will. It's hard enough keeping up with the real stuff. I don't want to muddy the waters with stuff that's not tangible. And but people flock to it. I think, like Donny said with crypto, and people are everyone's looking for that next big thing, and they want to get in on the ground level. And I think you guys made a good point. Like that's if you get in early, I think you're okay. But once that bus leaves the station, it's too late. And you try to jump on it, you're just going to get a face full of fumes. And me, I'm just like I just simplified it to the point. Like you either have it or you don't, and I just make it simpler for me. But we'll see. Brad, you got something else you wanted to cover?
Yeah, and I'd asked Card Killer a couple of questions. I want to ask Donny B. The Marvel art that you do. I mean, that's the stuff that when I was looking just really tripped me out. Why stay with Marvel? Why haven't you moved into, or have you moved into DC and I just haven't seen it yet? Or are you just a Marvel kid?
Man, there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to that specific question. I just happened to get my paws on a solid stack of Marvel cards, and I started off being very resourceful, man. I started off really wanting to utilize what I had on my physical person. I mean, I have thousands of base cards, man. I know we all do. Like I have an obscene amount of base cards and all these cards that would be more trouble than it's worth to sell, but I can do this with it. I can do that with it. But yeah, I just had I happened to come across some cool. You know what? To be honest with you, I think it might have started off with a commission. I think I had a Spider-Man commission, and dude, I'm nuts, man. I ordered two different original 1990 Marvel Spider-Mans, and I ended up cutting them up, and I used them both for commissions, two separate commissions, and both of those cards now, like in PSA 10, are like $1,000 cards. You know, I'm an idiot, man, and I know one of them for a fact was in real good shape.
Yeah.
But then, come to find out, there's like, 1991 and then 1992 sets that are, not quite as valuable, easier to get your hands on, still relatively cool to look at and whatnot. And so I really like when starting a new project, I have a few different boxes set aside of cards that I put in there that at least spoke to me and a little bit of enough of a whisper to put them in that box so that when I go back through it later, boom, I'll pick what kind of jumps out at me. And a lot, I really try to go with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Uh, and I have nothing against DC Comics. I don't have any DC comic cards. Like they've never really fell on my lap. No one's ever really asked for a commission of them or anything like that. So there's definitely no anti. I'd love to make some DC comic cards. The one bit of nostalgia that I'm really bringing home to the market right now is I bought a set of Simpsons cards made by I think his name is Coos Cards
Yeah.
at COUS S Cards, and man,
Oh, that is too cool.
so
Very
maybe 30 minutes before we started this podcast, this pair actually sold, man. I sold this pair of I can't get them both the same one.
Very
Ken,
cool.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Very
Yeah,
cool. That is
Griffey,
awesome.
Griffey and Homer. We got the set. The pair sold for $350, man.
That is
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm hyped on that, and the set came with, I want to say, like maybe 8 or 9, 10 different cards, and this is the one. This is the most recent one that I made. This is a old Montgomery
cool.
one.
Very cool, man. Burns.
Incorporated a little part of a dollar bill into it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny, man. Like at one point, I was really considering just trying to buck out the whole set and try to sell it as a set.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny, man, is with the interest that I've been getting from it, I probably could do that and sell the set as a set, because the first few people that inquired about it, they didn't inquire about getting one of the cards. They inquired about getting all the ones that I had made so far and potentially the rest of them. So, and it kind of started with the fact that I'm going to be getting a booth with a buddy, Sharkbait Cards, custom cards, who let's see, I have his art somewhere. But anyway, he lives in Fresno, and he's getting his for the second time a booth at a pretty cool card show in Fresno, and so he and I are gonna double up. We're gonna each have a booth and combine forces, and I needed to create inventory, and that's one of the things that led me to investing in the Simpsons set.
Yeah.
I see things in a very kind of black and white way. Like I see the Simpsons set, Simpsons card set. I got it from Coos Cards for, I think it's like $40. And like I said, man, I just turned it into, a few bucks more than that with a decent amount of elbow grease and really beyond the time that I put into this piece, What it is the thousands of hours of time that I put into all the pieces before it, that to where that allows me to be able to make a piece that looks like this, you know?
Yeah.
And something you said too, Donnie, which I know with guys in the Carter world, you guys have a sort of like a fraternity for the most part. I don't want to say everybody, but a good percentage of you all kind of help each other out, communicate, get along. I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, but I think as a general rule of thumb, you guys will collaborate, help each other out, promote each other, even during this podcast. You're donning your hat to other people doing great things as well, and highlighting their work, and that's refreshing to see. Not a lot of industries work along those lines or levels. Like a lot of folks could take a page out of what your guys are doing together, and that fraternity, and kind of helping each other out, sort of that brother and sisterhood, if you will. And people in the card hobby should take a little note of that too. But it's good to see. I mean, and like you said, Simpsons are, I mean, arguably one of the best sitcoms in the history of television.
Longest
And
running.
Yeah. Longest running animated.
yeah, and then to make one of, in a sense, one-on-one pieces and works of art out of something that's already popular, you've made something that's great even better, and that's not easy. Easier said than done. Kudos to all you guys doing that kind of stuff. I wish I had even an ounce of that sort of imagination and talent, but unfortunately, I don't. You guys, we're coming down the home stretch. I wanted to, you guys do your own podcast as well. You two and Peter Pac-Man. It's called Outside the Wax. You guys are all busy. I don't know how you're usually about one a month you release for the most part. I don't know how you do it. What you
Yeah,
say?
Yeah, it's gotten
yeah.
a little
I
slow
mean,
lately, sure, but
But
what
I
time?
mean,
man, that was awkward as shit. Um, yeah, I mean, our goal has definitely been to try to get 2 out a month, but
yeah,
just like you said, man, you're talking about three very busy individuals, and
yeah,
not even just with the hobby. I mean, Peter
yeah,
Pac-Man is a freaking student dean at a
yeah,
school, at a youth school. KK over here is in a band that meets
yeah,
all the time. He has, a restoration job that he is, basically full timing. I work at a comedy club serving tables, as well as making my own card art, as well as running 4 different pages.
yeah,
It's not always the easiest task to get us all in the same spot at the same time. I mean, Pete works at a school, he works days. I work at a comedy club, I work nights and weekends. Literally the opposite. But the last thing that I want to touch on, some that I guess kind of gets me hyped on the whole situation. We, just like you said earlier, we definitely have done a fair amount of philanthropical work, and I want to speak on the project that has meant the most to me, and in an unexpected way. I mean, first off, I'm 31. I'll be 32 years old in like a week and a half, and I've never had a car. I've never had a license. Never driven a car. Never driven a car legally. Um,
yeah.
There's distinguishing between that.
I got arrested for driving without a license, so uh, statistically proven I have driven a car. But yeah, not legally. That was a long time ago. But that being said, man, a very good friend of ours and member of the space. His name is Chris Zupan, also known as Blender of Zombie. And this dude's been making card art for, is probably as long as I have, like a year and a half. and has been. I mean, talk about consistent. Like that dude's making like 2 pieces a day every day for a year and a half. He numbers the pieces. I think he's made like 400 or 500 pieces. Like he's really, and they're all like really good. Like the dude's no slouch. And talk about generous. Like probably his first 100 pieces, if someone inquired about buying them, he would just send it to him. Like he's got a heart of gold. And I think this probably happened maybe like a couple months before National, so maybe like March or something. His fiance's car got stolen while she was at work on her day off, like covering for a friend of hers. Goes into work reluctantly, gets her car stolen, and oh, look at that! Yeah, that's Splendor Zombie. I mean, come on, dude, the Griffey rookie, like that thing is dope.
It is. It is. Seriously.
And so, yeah, real quick. And so, man, my man was torn up about getting this car stolen. And like I said, you're talking about a dude with a heart of gold, a dude that's, giving away the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth. I mean, I guarantee he didn't charge KK for that piece, like for like the first like 100 pieces, man. He's just sending them out no matter who you were. And so when they got that misfortune happened to them, and man, he sent out some posts that just kind of broke my heart about, if kind of those drunk posts that like you delete like the next day, but like you put up because you're so frustrated. And it just broke my heart, man, to see them going through this when it just didn't. It shouldn't have happened to them. There's many people that should have gotten their car stolen before they got theirs stolen, and instantly I knew that I had to do something. I had no idea what. I mean, like I said, I don't even have a car myself. I can't just give him a car.
Yeah.
But I do have a hell of a platform that I put countless hours into, and KardKiller and I have come up with. I mean, basically, he came up with an idea called Mayhem Breaks, where we literally take boxes or packs or whatever of packs of cards and drill holes into them, and then do a little break, and then at the end of it, people pick their cards, and we started doing add-ons. Like if you wanted to pay an extra whatever amount of money, you could get embellishments.
Nice.
Yeah, that is
That almost looks 3D. I went like this.
It looks like you enjoyed that way too much.
So this right here actually came in the mail today, and this was my piece that Blender Zombie ended up embellishing for me, for kind of hosting that project and whatever. And so within, I mean, less than a month and a half's worth of time, we literally bought our buddy a new car that was valued more than the car that they got stolen from them.
That's awesome.
Yep, that is awesome.
That is awesome.
That's what can you say? I mean, just again, I alluded to already. You guys kind of helping everyone out. And you guys listen. That's a card art discovery, but you're helping out people not in the card art work.
Oh yeah. I mean that's like the only philanthropical work that we've done that's in the hobby. I mean, most of the time we're talking about funding children's cancer research and all sorts of really, really just causes. But that one just meant a lot to me because I know who it impacted. I mean, I don't want to put words into the dude's mouth, but it really felt like we helped restore his faith.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
when
saying?
something like that happens, you sometimes lose faith in humanity. We hear a lot of those stories going on in the world. We could do a whole show just on that if that's the direction we wanted to go in. And those, we don't hear enough about that kind of stuff, what you guys did. And it's happening more than we hear, but it's not, that doesn't get as much ratings as the train wreck stories and the negative stuff. And so it's good to see that stuff goes on again. You guys, you have those bonds, that fraternity. It's awesome to hear. Like I said,
that's the kind of stuff that it's built on. Now that you kind of get an insider scoop on it, it's not just a group of like-minded people that like to cut up cards, like people that have really kind of shown up for each other in unique times of need. I mean, there's people that were a part of that I bet even had doubts, like, oh, I'll buy a spot. Hopefully the money goes to the right place, type of thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, you see our buddy with a new car talking about it's the best car that he's ever had, and
I think John. I was going to say that John has always said it best. Now that the hobby is the people. I mean,
I was just trying to wait for the right spot to say that. KK.
Listen, I like when other people. I'll say it, but I enjoy it more if someone else. But it's true, right? It really is I get asked every once in a while. I get asked if I'm on someone else's show. It might come up and the host will say, John, I love the hobbies of people. Tell the story behind that. And it's boring. There really is no story. It just thought I've done this almost 40 years. And I think about of all the people I've met along the way, I probably wouldn't be here. There's certain people I wouldn't be where I am without them. And so there's no magic story. There's nothing too exciting. It just popped in my head that, the hobby is the cards, the art. I understand that. Without that, we wouldn't be here either. But it's the people. Without people who enjoy those things and create those things, there would be no hobby. So that's where that tagline came from. It's not really an exciting way I came up with it, but kind of succinct and to the point, and really sort of hits home. And I wish there was more exotic story behind it, but that's really it.
It doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes it's a simple notion like that, and something as simple and elegant as to put it that way, makes it easy to explain so much with one sentence. I see you, talking to people all the time, John, and I saw you at National, and it. Like I was up to you, and it was like we were friends already. It's like because I had been listening to you for a year and a half, and and I'm sitting there listening to your podcast and answering the questions that you're giving everybody else, and then you call me, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This is crazy. So like I come to you, it's almost like we're friends, but like when we say
we are friends.
We absolutely are, and the thing is that, like, when you say, it came from a simple place, but you've spent years building, like a novel or an encyclopedia behind that sentence. So, like, now when someone asks you, what does it mean? I mean, you probably have 1,000 stories. So, like, it's almost
which
like
is why that's why I have so many episodes and they're so long. I'm actually going to be cutting them. I'm changing the format around on the two shows. So they both should clock in under an hour. Actually, Brad is privy to what I'm doing. I've talked to him about it. So I think it's more consumable if I can keep it to under an hour with Sports Card Nation and Hobby Quick Hits. And so, but it I do 2 episodes, one each of those every week. And so, like you said, Card Killer, that's the stories. I have plenty. I've never, I'm old, so I never run out of things to really talk about. I actually forget stuff. I have, the older I'm getting, I have to write stuff down more than I ever have before. Or I'll walk into a room to do something, and I get in the room and forget what I came in there. I have to run out, then remember, and then run back in before I forget a second time. So that's what getting old gets you. But one thing,
you are inspiring people.
There you go.
There's Brody the Kid shirt.
Yeah. Let's peel the onion back just a so John and I talk a lot off air, and we'll be sitting there talking, and he'll go into a story, and I swear I'm listening to his podcast at some point.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't have a shtick. Like, I might tell bad jokes and try to be funny, but it's not that's really like, I'll do that in person or I'll do it with the mic on. It's not really any different. And I think people appreciate that. Like, there's no phoniness to it. Like, you may not agree or like everything I say necessarily all the time, but one thing everyone should be able to say is, like, John's a straight shooter, and he calls it like he sees it. He gives me his honest opinion, his honest assessment, and that's what it's about. Herman's watching, and here's a comment from him. Speaking of hobbies of people, I got a couple PWE racks from some friends of the hobby today, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And it's the one thing someone asked me, like, what's my favorite thing about the hobby? It's this stuff we did tonight, talking about what we do, what we enjoy, our talents. What you have more than I do, but I enjoy talking about yours and getting that word out there to maybe someone who doesn't know, the few people that are left, and that's what it's about. Something that crossed my mind in this conversation tonight, guys, too, is we have the national once a year for a week, which is the big, as we all know, the big card convention. And just thinking how you card artists have sort of have that bond of fraternity in your clothes. Has there been any discussion about in a sense, a card art national, an event just with card artists and what they do and highlighting that?
That'd be cool. That'd be
Donny?
Cool.
I mean, not quite yet. It's really being shaped and formed as we speak. I have no idea what the climate would look like. I mean, not even to me and Card Killer's own horns, but I'm curious to know what the climate would look like if we never made the sports card art gallery, or if I never got into card art and started posting a couple of different pieces every day for a year at a time, so thousands of people could see it. I never claimed to be the first card artist in the world. Card Killer started way before I did in general.
Yeah, but I don't think, and not to cut you, I don't think it's who's first or second or third. It's the work. It's the work itself and the time and dedication and talent. I think that that there's no pension plan. Like I say, even in the regular cards, whether I was the first podcast or the fourth or whatever number it is, it's we're here, we're sharing our passion for what we enjoy, and I don't think it's I was here first, and I don't think you guys do that. And like I said, you promote. I'd love to see you do like a card art national where, like, I don't want to see regular boring sometimes cards. I want to see guys like you.
Donny,
and you guys
talks about a comedy show. He wants to incorporate that. What were you saying?
So, hey, John. So
it's open mic night on Thursday nights at the.
So, one thing that I am looking to start up, not quite that, but one thing that I do want to start is a live event. I am very in tune with the local stand-up comedy scene in San Francisco, and I would really love to make a live event that's half comedy, and then get RPS involved, Peter Pac-Man, Javid, Slabby, and do a half comedy, half hip hop show, and then after that, like whatever hour and a half, then boom, right into a 2 or 3 hour hobby trade night right afterwards.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
you got your
I mean,
entertainment and you
stuff
got
like
your trades.
yeah. Well, listen, that's a start, but I like to think even bigger. We have the national, right? I'm really promoting this because I want to see it.
Well, there you go. It's your idea,
Well,
John. Run with it. It's
Well,
all you.
listen, I'll help. I'd help. I can't do it by myself.
The
But
one who's
you
open
guys,
his mouth
the
first.
the
but I
next
mean,
question is who the fuck's gonna do all that
you
work,
guys
buddy?
are all over the country. Card Killers obviously on the East Coast in New York. You're on the West Coast. There's everyone in between. Even if it's a 3 to 4 day event, somewhere central. I mean, you guys know each other. A lot of you know each other online. Some of you've met in real life, but it'd be a great event to actually meet in person.
You're talking about 100 card artists. Like there's 10
I know.
billion there's 10 billion hobby enthusiasts that combine to make a national. You can't make a national based off 100 people, brother.
Well,
I love the enthusiasm.
a scaled down version, if you will. I'm not saying it's got to be.
John's saying it's possible. I think John can make it happen.
I love to make it happen. Listen, I love to make it. I love to see it. I'd love to attend something like that.
More realistically, I think card art should have its own little sector in the actual national.
No, that too.
That too.
Cool. That too. That's a great point. And I'm going to tell you something. I talk to those folks from time to time. They usually come on. Ray Schulte will come on my show a month or two before the national, and we'll talk about the upcoming national. And I have conversations with him besides him coming on the show. I haven't had that one yet, but you better believe it's going to come up. I think he listens. I don't know if he listens to every show I do, but I know he listens to some. This is going to come out in audio form, and so Ray, if you're listening, how about it? We can have a content creators row. Why not a card art row? And listen, the venue's plenty big. There's no shortage of space, and it's a big part of the hobby. What you guys are doing are a big part of the hobby, and social media. And you guys do both. You go with your show, with the podcast and the art. I can only do one thing. I can only talk into this thing. I can't do artwork. But there's no reason. You're right, Donnie. There's no reason that can't be incorporated to an existing event. That's a great point. And
it would only add to it, in my opinion.
Even worst case scenario. I'm not saying this would be my first choice, but let's say the national doesn't accommodate it, or the powers that be, or it just doesn't. Even to do something like there's plenty of trade nights if you attend the national. What about a card art night or nights? 2 days or 3 days, whatever.
You could call it Card Killer Night.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Card Killer will come up with a concept to go along
Bring your
with
weapons,
the event.
bring your guns. Yeah.
But I mean, it should happen. It should happen, and I'd be there. Not with anything I could do, but my jaw would just be on the floor, admiring all the great work that all you guys do. And I like to see it. There you go. I was gonna say started a room. I'll help in any way, whatever form that needs to be. It's easy to just throw ideas out there and kind of, like the Homer Simpson meme, go back into the hedges and disappear, but I would love to do it. I would love to help and see it. I love to attend.
Let's do a Card Art National.
Yeah, there you go. All right. All right. Well, listen, it's December, and so we got about 7 or 8 months to get it done. So,
all right.
All right, guys. I appreciate your time, Brad. Thank you for co-piloting the plane today. And
thanks for
guys, I don't need to tell you this. What you're doing is awesome on the art level, and the hobby level, the podcasting level, the charity work, the philanthropy. Keep doing it, and I can't wait to see you again in person. Hopefully, that's in Atlantic City here. And maybe, like we just talked about, there'll be a card art night or nights as well incorporated in there, or like you said, Donnie, even into the national itself, as it should be.
I know for a fact that Ray Schultz owns one of my pieces. I handed him.
There you go. Well, listen, there's your in. There's your in as well. All I give them is just the basic podcast card that I have on my art that has no frills attached to it. So I think he likes your card better than the one he has for coming.
Dang it, I don't have one here.
yeah. So. All right, guys. It's late. I don't want to keep you. I appreciate everything you're doing. Keep it up, and I look forward to seeing what's around the bend, and it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having us, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, John.
Thank you.